Perfect. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too. Thank you for joining me today.
I'm glad you're just a little bit behind because I was at home and my internet went out.
Oh
So,
yeah, I
so
thought
I
that.
had to come back to my office. I thought, oh, I'll just chill out at the house for a little bit. And it was completely nothing. So I drove back to the office. So I got here like just a couple minutes ago. So that was perfect.
I appreciate you taking the time today out of your day to meet with me today.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Right. So, in a few minutes, just tell us about yourself and what you do.
Okay, sure. I'd be happy to do that. Now,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I have a commercial cleaning business. It's relatively small at this point. I have about four part-time employees and three regular employees that I hire for like special events and things like that. Um, I'm located right in central Pennsylvania. I'm between Harrisburg and Carlisle, Pennsylvania, kind of like right in the middle of the state. It's really a growing area. It's a good place for businesses to open up and succeed pretty well because every year the population base in this area keeps growing, has a very low unemployment rate, under 3%, and so it's kind of a thriving area. At least it's been for the last 10 years.
Awesome. Awesome. How'd you start your business?
I started about 6 years ago. I started as a part-time business. I was employed full time. It started off something I was just going to have on the side to build up for when I retired, that I could have just jump right into that. I worked for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Prior to that, I was a police officer. So the goal was just to start it small. I started in residential cleaning. Then I exited out of that after about a year and just did commercial cleaning. And it slowly grew the first couple years. And the third and fourth year, it really grew. And then um, I took a little bit of hit during the pandemic, but I got that business back and then some. So it's really grown quite a bit. And so yeah, but I started off just it just started off just part time.
And why'd you pick this industry?
I wanted something that I could start with minimal startup cost. Like $3,000 or $4,000. Didn't have to pay at the time. I didn't really was interested in paying franchise fees, and I wanted something I could grow at my own pace, and that's kind of the main reason for that. And it worked out very well.
So, starting your own business, how'd you get people to know that they can come to you for this kind of work? How'd you market yourself?
I used a couple sources, a couple promotion sources. I initially started off with Home Advisor and Thumbtack, a couple organizations like that. That kind of got my foot in the door. Then from there it was some referrals. And then when I got in the commercial cleaning business, I got a couple accounts through those same folks, and referrals came in through those, and it just kind of kept growing. I think one of my biggest sources would join some professional organizations like the Chamber of Commerce. Got a few things through LinkedIn as well early in my development of the business, and so professional sources were a big part of it after after I kind of did away with Home Advisor and Thumbtack and some of those other ones. Um, I kind of just was in an inner circle that had a connection with other businesses at whatever point that was, and that really helped my business a lot.
How do you see yourself growing from here?
Well, that's a difficult situation. I'm at the point, since this is all I do now, it's all I've done for a little bit. Um, my struggle is finding employees. That has been tough for me. I've turned down quite a bit of work, unfortunately, because I don't want to overextend myself, take on work, and at some point realize, well, I can't fulfill my obligation. Um, so I take on some accounts till they're staffed. I take on some other accounts till they're staffed. Um, I would like to be. I'm right now. I'm at 23 accounts. I would probably like to be somewhere around 35 or 40 accounts within a year and a half. I've found some reliable employees. I have three or four really faithful employees have been with me for a while. It just seems the ones I've been hiring lately have not been the best, but the last couple I have now have been doing pretty well. So I'm just going to keep trying to grow, trying to do it smartly, systematically, but not try to go crazy about it.
Okay, wonderful. And what do you think makes you different from competitors that you may have?
In my market, it's that I'm accessible. I think the big success we've had is coming in with other cleaning companies that, quite frankly, just didn't care. Um, their goals are to get accounts on small margins, fill those positions, and so they say they have those accounts. Often they're not always accountable for those accounts. Cleaners aren't showing up, the work's not being done very well. And especially that was really important my third and fourth year was I was coming in after these companies just weren't doing a good job. And so that's, I think, where I created quite a niche in this area. Most areas are dominated by major commercial cleaning companies. There are independents. This area has a couple, but there aren't many. And I think that's my clients can, I can't say they can call me anytime. They may, but if it's an emergency, they can. But I'm very responsive. I'm quick. Within hours, I'm usually calling them back, if not sooner. That's something that's lacking, at least with some of the other cleaning companies.
Yeah, that's great. So, what are some of the most challenging obstacles it took to start your own business?
I think trying not to get burnt out, especially with at one point I was working some 70 some hours, just trying to get the business going and working full time. That was stressful. I had to find a way to try to juggle that, and still spend time with family. And that was probably the most difficult thing. The other thing was being able to learn how to handle rejection, which I know I had a problem with it. I think a lot of people they take it personal. Like originally, that used to upset me. Now it kind of makes me stronger, makes me work harder. But that was, I think, the two biggest things. I was never big on handling rejections. Like somebody saw your price is too high, or you're not big enough, or anything like that. When I started out, I kind of took it personal, which really is the wrong thing to do.
How did you overcome that?
I just buckled down. I'm like, you know what? For every four no's, if I get one yes, then I win. And that's kind of was my mindset. Um, like it's like playing a sport. You don't always hit a home run or score a touchdown, but when you do, you've done something good. That's kind of was my mentality. It took a while to get there, but I finally got there.
And what did you learn from overcoming these obstacles about yourself? What did you learn about yourself?
Pretty much, you can. eh, most things don't affect you much anymore, especially in the negative energy. Like I've actually learned that even more a little bit later. Like I try to zone out any negative energy. I try not to let any of that bring me down
Right.
because sometimes that consumes you. And I think that having this business helped me a lot with that.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you do before you started your business?
I was a police officer, and,
Right.
and then I got into insurance fraud investigations, and then I ended up working for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for a while as well. Um, but starting a business, something was always I wanted to do first. But you have a family, and you need health insurance, and you have a kid, and like it takes a lot of guts to start a business. And you get comfortable in a full-time job that you're probably not going to get laid off on, and it just took a while to get the mindset to do that. And finally I did.
What would you say are the benefits mentally and literally that of owning your own business?
Oh my God, it's the freedom. I think is the biggest thing. Staying on. Yeah. I'd say freedom is the biggest thing, and I just to be able to think how you want and take the course of action that you want to take, I think is the biggest thing. I think they're the two biggest things.
Right. What are some of your biggest accomplishments within your business?
I think one of the biggest accomplishments is how it's grown. That I kind of wasn't expecting that, and how quick it grew. When I look back at kind of where I'm at now from where I originally was, um, I just I never realized the success of it until you sit back and look at it because you're in doing it every day. It doesn't really register, and then it kind of registers, that yeah, you've done pretty well. but it's got to keep moving forward. But I think that was the happiest thing when I sit back and look at what I've done. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up within, in the motions and think that you
Mhm.
always have to strive for um, this horizon that's always getting away from you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, like, you got to look back and see what you've done. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it's just a nice feeling. It's nothing to brag about or anything, but it's a nice feeling. It makes you feel good kind of inside.
Right. What are some of your biggest personal accomplishments in your personal life?
My daughter going off to college. I mean, that was incredible. She's like 9.5 hours away, so it's kind of far, but just to see how she's come along over the years. And like we originally, it was supposed to be really hard for us to have kids. It was a blessing. We ended up having a child, and that's probably the biggest thing in my life, I think.
Wonderful. Excellent.
Yeah.
So, throughout your entrepreneurial experience, there's ups and downs. So, which thought leaders or business leaders did you look up to for advice and motivation?
Honestly, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I kind of didn't. I think that's. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do by any means. It's not. But I kind of just. I would just do research, and just look at what some other people have accomplished. I generally kind of just look within. Um, and feel what I need to do. I've had some mentors, but there are some local business owners um, who have other businesses who actually have helped me if I've asked for advice. But I've kind of stayed close to the circle and haven't really, gone out to seminars or anything like that, or read anybody's books or audio tapes. But I think that's a good thing to do. It's just something that I haven't done.
Right. Well, what's one of your biggest business insights?
I think probably just I think the you mean insights as far as advice I would give?
Right.
Or yeah, I would say, you know, try not to, overextend yourself and have faith that it's going to happen at some point. Um, and know that the first couple years are rough. And once you get through those first couple years, you've achieved something, and it's going to probably skyrocket after that if you keep good business practice and have a good attitude about it.
So then, why do you think the statistic says that most businesses fail? What causes them to fail, do you think?
I think a couple things. I think maybe they give up. They want it too quick, and they burn out and don't want to take the 2 to 3 years to get to where they wanted to be. And it could be pressure from family, maybe. It like I said, it takes, as you well know, it takes guts to start a business. And if you're not producing income, I can just see it. A family would say, well, this is 2 years now. We need to do something as far as money goes. I think that adds pressure. I think that has a lot to do with just the pressure of not financially succeeding in the first couple years. Even though you're moving forward, maybe each year you're going up, it might not be enough for that person. And I think that's incredibly frustrating. I think that's where I was blessed. I kind of had, although unfortunately I was working 70 hours a week, I was blessed to have something to fall back on. And so a lot of people don't have that. But whether you have it or not, you just got to keep fighting it. I mean, I don't think 2 years is enough to think that you're going to just crush it. Maybe in some cases you will, but the majority don't. And it's a long ride. 2 or 3 years is a long ride to get it going. But the people who have done it have all said it's been well worth it.
So, throughout your experience, what's a financial lesson that you've learned? One that was important to you?
Budget. Don't expect the money that's coming in. It may look good. Um, you have a big cash flow coming in, but I think the biggest thing is you have to realize your budget and what you have going out, because the money looks so good coming in and it looks so horrible going out.
Yeah.
The expenses, because you get all this money in one pot and it goes out almost in one pot. And so I think just budgeting is the smartest thing to do. Just not getting overexcited about what's coming in and not getting upset about what's going out. Just have a process for it so it's a smooth transition and you're more comfortable.
Right. So what's a realization that you made either about yourself or about the business throughout your 6 years of experience?
My realization is I wished I would have done this a long time ago. And as I started getting success, I was actually, I don't say I was angry about it, but I was disappointed that I didn't start this like 20, 25 years ago. Because it would have been insane. It would have been, it would have taken off unbelievably. And I would be in a different place than I am now. Now I'm not upset by it anymore. I've kind of lived with it. But that, if I had a regret or a suggestion, that would be it. Is even though I'm doing well now, I'm blessed. I'm thankful. I just look back and wish I would have just done it a long time ago.
Right. Right. Well, when you're younger, there's a lot at stake.
Oh, there is. There is no doubt. And like I said, it's scary. There's a lot at stake. That's why I didn't do it. But that's just a kind of reflection for me personally. That's what I wished I would have done, and took a couple hard knocks for the first couple years, and knowing where I'm at now. If I'd have done that 20 years ago, I'd have been far better off.
What legacy do you want to leave behind?
I'm hoping just leave a nice legacy for my family. I'm not. I think people tell you that know me. I'm not big on personal assets or collecting things or anything like that. I just like to work hard. I want to leave something for my family, and along the way, I do some charitable causes and stuff and make donations. I want to make an impact, not necessarily on myself, but leave some type of impact on my family and a little bit on the community.
That's admirable. What
I think I appreciate it.
what causes do you care about?
I uh I work with I donate to a food bank, and there's another service that helps people who need shelter. I work with another food bank besides that, and anything else that comes along that I can help out with in the community, I do that as well. But those are the big three: the two food banks and the shelter are the ones I really probably the most passionate about, I guess.
It's wonderful. And finally, what's a message you'd like to leave with the audience?
I just say keep working hard. It's worth it. I know there are some failures out there, but for every failure is a success. Just don't give up. Just giving up is because you've already worked so hard. Say you're 2 or 3 years into it, you've already worked so hard, and to step back from it after that, I know it's rough, but just keep working. People who are much more successful than me will tell you that they are glad they stuck it out. That's just keep plugging away.
Well, it sounds like your success is a product of you working hard every single week.
Yeah, for better or worse, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's what it takes to make it happen.
it does. Absolutely, it does.
Brian, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
I think it was a pleasure. Sorry about the interruption at the door, but
Oh, no problem. We're all busy. All right. Well, you have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.
thank you. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.